What if I told you that some of the greatest country songs were never played on your radio? Not because they lacked catchiness or wit, but rather because they were too audacious, too truthful, or just too political. From Would You Lay With Me in a Field of Stone, which had a premarital undertone and was sung by a teenage girl, to Accidental Racist, which was seen to address racial tension. Here are 15 songs that made country radio uneasy. Number 1. Conway Twitty, You've Never Been This Far Before. Conway Twitty, well-known country music artist by the early 1970s, and her love songs were well-known. But with You've Never Been This Far Before, Twitty went beyond what many conservative country music fans had anticipated or felt comfortable doing. Twitty wrote the song himself, and it was published as the album's title track and first single in 1973. The beautiful, slow-burning song You've Never Been This Far Before is highly evocative of sex. With a clear suggestion that it's the woman's first sexual experience, Twitty sings from the viewpoint of a guy taking her through a very personal experience. Although the lyrics did not use foul language, they were far too racy for 1973 country radio. The seductive words, breathy delivery, and tone left little room for interpretation. I can almost hear the stillness as it yields to the sound of your heart beating, and I don't know what I'm saying as my trembling fingers touch forbidden places. The song, in vivid detail for its time, referred to a woman's first sexual encounter. It raised eyebrows and blood pressure. Due to its provocative content, it was outright banned by several country and pop radio stations. It was criticized for encouraging immorality and being obscene. In spite of the prohibitions, the debate generated interest and sales. Conway Twitty's song earned her 10th #1 single on the Billboard Hot Country Singles list. The song even made it to the mainstream charts, which was uncommon for a country song at the time. Songs like this set the foundation for later country music artists like Tammy Wynette, Dolly Parton, and eventually Shania Twain, who openly discussed mature subjects. Brad Paisley and Alison Krauss. In 2004, Brad Paisley and Alison Krauss, two of the biggest stars in country and bluegrass music, did not release a whole album together. They have, however, worked together on a few noteworthy songs and performances over the years, frequently fusing Krauss's classic bluegrass and violin skills with Paisley's contemporary country flair. The song is about a couple that are broken up by betrayal and heartbreak, which causes them to become hopeless and eventually die. The whiskey lullaby alludes to the use of alcohol to dull mental or physical distress. After returning from the war, the guy finds his wife has abandoned him. Devastated, he turns to alcohol. He eventually consumes too much alcohol. Overwhelmed by grief and remorse, the lady also drinks. The two are buried next to each other when she also commits suicide. Because alcohol eases their suffering and finally results in their death, it is described as a lullaby. The song examines how detrimental coping methods can result from intense emotional distress. It highlights the toll that broken relationships take on people by showing a cycle of loss and suffering. Although not officially prohibited, several country radio stations limited their programming because of references to suicide, alcohol misuse, and emotional doom. Explicit death and addiction topics are frequently avoided on country radio, particularly in conservative areas. Some people thought it was too depressing for TV during the day. This did not stop the song from becoming a huge smash and a contemporary country classic. It is proof that a song can be the #1 song even if it breaks your heart. It also demonstrated how more receptive country listeners are to genuine, unfiltered emotion than some radio stations had previously acknowledged. According to Paisley and Krauss, the song was the recipient of the 2005 CMA Award for Vocal Event of the Year. It entered the Billboard Hot Country Songs list at #3 and achieved platinum status with more than 1 million digital purchases. Number 3, Tim McGraw, Indian Outlaw. Tim McGraw, one of the most well-known figures in country music since the 1990s, is renowned for fusing classic country storytelling with a modern sound. John D. Loudermilk and Mark Allen Springer wrote the song Indian Outlaw, which was released in 1994 as the lead single from his album Not a Moment Too Soon. The lively, catchy song Indian Outlaw has light-hearted lyrics that make fun of Native American cliches and imagery. McGraw discusses conventional cultural symbols like feathers and tomahawks in his song about being a Native American outlaw. The song received harsh criticism for reinforcing misconceptions about Native Americans. The lyrics, which objectified indigenous identity and culture, were viewed as disrespectful and reductive by several Native American organizations and supporters. In reaction to criticism, a number of radio stations decided not to play Indian Outlaw, or only played it seldom. The song's racial and cultural insensitivity upset some country fans, while others enjoyed its catchy melody and McGraw's magnetism. In spite of the criticism, Indian Outlaw was a huge box office hit. On Billboard's Hot Country Singles and Tracks, it peaked at number 8. It ranked number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100, making it one of the 1990s first notable country pop crossover songs. Additionally, it helped make Tim McGraw a growing country music sensation. While acknowledging the criticism, Tim McGraw has mostly refrained from offering an apology for the song, claiming it was a product of its time. Following Indian Outlaw, his songs were less dependent on novelty or contentious subjects and more focused on presenting emotional, meaningful stories, such as Don't Take the Girl and Live Like You Were Dying. As time has gone on, McGraw has gained recognition as a reflective artist whose latter work more overtly acknowledges cultural challenges. Number 4. Tanya Tucker, Would You Lay With Me in a Field of Stone? In 1972, Tanya Tucker made her country music debut at the age of 13 with the classic song Delta Dawn. She became one of the first female country music artists to sing about subjects that were frequently viewed as taboo or edgy, and she is well known for her unpretentious approach and raw, strong voice. Over the course of her career, Tanya incorporated classic country music with a rebellious edge that frequently went against the conservative norms of country radio. David Allan Coe's Would You Lay With Me is a gentle yet seductive ballad that delves into themes of intimacy and love. The song's lyrics convey a woman's longing and fragility, pleading for both physical and emotional intimacy. Would you lay with me in a field of stone and tell me you'd love me if I made you alone? When Tanya Tucker recorded and published the song, she was just 15 years old. Many fans, radio stations, and industry insiders were uneasy with the song's adult undertones of intimacy and premarital sex. Because they believed the subject matter was unsuitable for a young artist, some stations restricted or prohibited airing. The song launched Tanya's career as a prominent country performer and earned her first #1 success on the Billboard Country chart, despite the controversy surrounding it. Tucker's emotional depth and mature vocal delivery were commended. The composer, David Allan Coe, was a legendary figure in outlaw country music and was renowned for penning songs that challenged convention. Even at such a young age, Tanya had an advantage because of his writing. The song furthered current conversations about age, image, and content in the music industry and provided a platform for younger country musicians to explore more mature issues. In interviews, Tanya Tucker has stated that Would You Lay With Me is one of her favorite songs due to its unadulterated, emotional honesty. www.youtube.com/watch xjhr5pj6un list RDXJHRL5PJI6UN start radio Duart 1. These aren't your normal country singles with a positive vibe. They are the songs that overturned the status quo, shook the system, and were not aired on the radio as a result. Number 5. Garth Brooks, The Thunder Rolls. Garth Brooks, who made his debut in the late 1980s and early 1990s, transformed country music by fusing rock and pop energy with classic country music. With more than 170 million recordings sold globally, he is among the best-selling solo musicians of all time. Brooks, who is well known for his captivating live performances, accessible lyrics, and genre-bending style, contributed to the popularization of country music among younger listeners. The song describes a stormy night when a lady suspects her spouse of adultery. Both the impending storm outside and the marital emotional anguish are represented by the thunder and rain. The lyrics, which are filled with vivid imagery of treachery and anguish, portray a tense encounter. There's a storm on the way, and I can hear the thunder rolls. Domestic abuse was depicted in the original music video, which in the beginning of the 1990s caused a lot of controversy. The video's graphic violence led to its prohibition or extensive editing by several country TV networks, notably TNN, the Nashville network. The song's ominous undertones of adultery and potential bloodshed made some radio stations reluctant to play it. But a lot of people adopted it, and it became a huge success. The song provoked conversations about how delicate topics like adultery, emotional suffering, and domestic violence are handled in country music. On the Billboard Hot Country Singles and Tracks chart, the song peaked at number 1. It contributed to establishing Garth Brooks as a storyteller who isn't scared to take on difficult and weighty subjects. The Thunder Rolls was a crucial song from No Fences, which went on to become one of the most popular albums in country music history. According to Garth Brooks, The Thunder Rolls is one of his favorite songs as it showcases a darker side of his talent and aided in his development as a singer. Number 6. There Stands the Glass, Webb Pierce. One of the biggest names in country music in the 1950s, Webb Pierce was well known for his honky-tonk and nasal twang. Throughout his career, he achieved 13 #1 singles on the Billboard country charts and had a significant impact on artists that came after him. Pierce frequently addressed working-class issues in his songs, such as alcoholism, heartbreak, and daily hardships. The song was originally sung by Webb Pierce in 1953 and was written by Autry Gresham, Mary Jean Shirts, and Russ Hull. Webb Pierce's rendition of the melancholy drinking ballad There Stands the Glass is well known. As a metaphor for loneliness and heartbreak, the lyrics depict a guy drinking alcohol to bury his sorrows while gazing at a glass. Radio stations were wary about drinking-related programming in the 1950s, particularly in genres like country that catered to a wide range of listeners, many of whom were conservative. Playing drinking songs, particularly in the post-prohibition era, was thought to promote immoral conduct or drunkenness. Some stations either restricted the rotation of There Stands the Glass or refused to play it. The song rose in the charts and became one of Pierce's most well-known songs in spite of the radio backlash. It reached #1 on the Billboard Country chart and remained on the charts for 21 weeks. The song became a mainstay in jukeboxes and honky-tonk clubs due to its candid portrayal of drinking as a reaction to grief. Number 7. Blackjack County Chain, Willie Nelson. Before becoming a great musician, Willie Nelson began his career as a songwriter in the 1950s and continued for more than 60 years. He is the author of hundreds of songs and the producer of over 70 albums. The song Blackjack County Chain is most notably linked to George Jones, whose rendition was released earlier, even though Nelson recorded it. Nelson's version sparked debate on its own. The song narrates a sinister tale about a group of inmates from a Texas prison chain gang who revolt against and kill a racist and vicious sheriff. The narrator explains the gang's choice to apply brutal justice on their own and how the sheriff misused his position of authority. It is a striking story of injustice, retaliation, and persecution. Due to its violent violence and unfavorable representation of police enforcement, The song was banned by several country radio stations. Country music at the period tended to steer clear of subjects deemed too aggressive, political, or critical of authority. It was thought that the violent retribution by the inmates and the vivid portrayal of the sheriff's mistreatment were too provocative and gloomy. Despite radio station prohibitions, George Jones's version was published as a single and peaked at number 15 on the Billboard Country chart. Willie Nelson's version was featured on his album Texas in My Soul, but was never made available as a single. Over time, the song developed a cult following as an illustration of outlaw country's readiness to take on tough subjects. Number 8. Okie from Muskogee, Merle Haggard. Okie from Muskogee depicts conservative, small-town ideals in the tumultuous late 1960s. It openly opposes the counterculture movements of the era, including drug usage, free love, and anti-war demonstrations, while praising conventional American lifestyles. We don't smoke marijuana in Muskogee. We don't take our trips on LSD. Many Americans who felt alienated by the quick changes in society can relate to the narrator's strong acceptance of blue-collar, family-oriented ideals. While many younger, more liberal listeners, particularly those in the counterculture, viewed the song as condescending or contemptuous, conservative audiences welcomed it. It was too politically inflammatory, and several radio stations avoided it for fear of offending some of their listeners. It made people talk about generational differences, patriotism, and the place of country music in politics. The song was a huge commercial smash and peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Hot Country Singles chart in spite of the controversy. The silent majority who opposed the hippie and anti-war movements adopted it as their unofficial song. It strengthened Merle Haggard's reputation as a representative of traditional America. The song has been recorded by a number of musicians and included in documentaries, TV series, and movies that examine the cultural differences in America. It provided counter-narratives for other response songs of the time. Haggard became a national celebrity as a result of the song, which cemented his reputation as the poet of the common man. His songs, which blended pride with hardship, were well known for their candid portrayal of working class and rural life. Notwithstanding the contentious nature of the song, Haggard remained well-liked by a large audience. Interestingly, these country songs had one thing in common. It was either too spicy, too political, too real, or just too much fun, making it wild for the airwaves. Number 9. Rated X, Loretta Lynn. One of country music's most iconic vocalists, Loretta Lynn is renowned for her straightforward storytelling and fearless take on contentious subjects. Growing up in a low-income household, she addressed topics that are rarely publicly explored in country music and utilized her songs to offer working-class women a voice. Based on personal experiences and anecdotes she heard from divorced women in her small Kentucky town, Loretta Lynn wrote Rated X. In Rated X, Loretta Lynn vehemently addresses the discrimination that divorced women encounter. The song challenges the stigma and condemnation society imposes on divorced women, particularly in conventional southern regions, where they are frequently labeled as bad or loose. Many country radio stations banned or severely limited the song because it addressed a sensitive topic and questioned social conventions. Fearing a response from conservative listeners, several programmers thought the lyrics were too aggressive and contentious. Strong fan support was evident in the song's respectable chart position despite its minimal airplay. Rated X contributed to the recognition of Loretta Lynn as a trailblazer for women in country music, renowned for her fearless approach to women's concerns. It cleared the path for subsequent songs that addressed contentious or advanced subjects. Lynn's role as a voice for women's emancipation in country music is highlighted in this song, which is still a potent song against the stigma divorced women suffered. future country musicians were able to more freely discuss women's difficulties, personal hardships, and social criticisms because of Rated X. Number 10. Follow Your Arrow, Casey Musgraves. The song was co-written by Casey Musgraves, Shane McAnally, and Brandy Clark, all of whom are renowned for pushing the boundaries in country music. The uplifting song Follow Your Arrow is about independence, individualism, and not passing judgment. The song exhorts listeners to live true to themselves and follow their own decisions regardless of what other people or society may think. In contrast to conventional country music, it openly celebrates marijuana usage and LGBTQ+ themes. The song's progressive lyrics caused several country radio stations to reject it. Since same-sex kisses and drug usage may be forbidden subjects in country radio, several programmers felt uneasy with the open discussion of these subjects. Even though the song received positive reviews and support from fans, some stations either avoided playing it at all or just played only parts of it. The song Follow Your Arrow nonetheless received Grammy and CMA nominations, indicating that the industry recognized it despite radio's hesitancy. The song challenged the family values image many country stations wanted to maintain. The song is frequently credited with paving the way for increased variety and tolerance in country music. Other musicians were encouraged to speak out more on LGBTQ+ issues and individual liberties as a result. Despite opposition from traditional country radio stations, Follow Your Arrow made significant strides as a fearless, inclusive song that contributed to the cultural modernization of country music. It remains a signature song for Casey Musgraves and a milestone in the genre's evolution. Beyoncé was born and raised in Houston, Texas, a city rich in Southern culture. Alabama and Louisiana artists are part of her family. She was exposed to blues and Southern soul by her father, Matthew Knowles, which had a big impact on her art. To put it another way, Beyoncé's creation of a country song is a form of genre reclamation rather than invasion. Daddy Lessons combines personal pain, Southern country music elements like brass, acoustic guitar, and country storytelling with elements of country, blues, and soul. It is the tale of a father teaching his daughter how to protect herself in a hostile world, both physically and mentally. Key lyrics: with his gun and his head held high, he told me not to cry. Oh, my daddy said shoot. This song was included on Beyoncé's Lemonade album, and she submitted it for consideration in the Grammy Awards country category. Numerous radio hosts and the Country Music Association, CMA, declined to classify it as country music. Its eligibility was denied by the Recording Academy's National Committee, which claimed it did not adhere to the genre's established norms. The rejection was perceived by some fans and commentators as racially motivated, with the argument that the song may have been accepted into the format if it had been recorded by a white artist. National discussion on what constitutes country music and who is eligible to be included was triggered by it. Beyoncé sang Daddy Lessons with the Chicks at the 2016 CMA Awards. The group was also considered a country outsider because of previous political reaction. While the performance was met with a standing ovation, some country fans took to the internet to express their racism. It brought to light significant conflicts within the genre regarding politics, race, and inclusivity. Rhiannon Giddens, Rissy Palmer, Casey Musgraves, and Maren Morris all openly endorsed the song. Billboard, NPR, and Rolling Stone all ranked it as one of the top country songs of 2016. Number 12, Girl Crush, Little Big Town. Lori McKenna, Hillary Lindsey, and Liz Rose, a formidable trio known as the Love Junkies and renowned for their expressive personal songwriting, wrote Girl Crush. The song is a silent, eerie ballad in 6/8 time that burns slowly. Features unadulterated lead vocals by Karen Fairchild, supported by sparse acoustic accompaniment, letting the lyrics and emotion take center stage. It's slow, melancholy, and achingly emotive, like a torch ballad. Girl Crush first seems like a song about a romantic relationship between two women. I got a girl crush, hate to admit it, but I got a heart rush, ain't slowing down. The twist, however, lies in the narrator's suffering. She is envious of the girl rather than in love with her. The narrator wishes she could be the woman who took her lover, experienced her emotions, and won him back, since she is so fixated on her. It's not a reference to same-sex desire, but rather to heartache and obsession. The lyrics were misinterpreted by many country radio listeners who thought it was a lesbian love ballad. Following complaints, some stations allegedly stopped playing it or withdrew it. Others were worried about conservative viewers or sponsors taking offense. Ironically, the topic at hand, envy and heartbreak, is rather conventional country fare. However, more conservative markets reacted impulsively to the misinterpretation. The song was swiftly defended by country music insiders and performers who praised its emotional depth, voice, and lyrics. Due to presumptions and prejudice, some DJs and radio consultants chastised their own profession for overreacting. The dispute spurred a wider discussion about the sluggish evolution of country music and LGBTQ+ themes in the genre. At the 2015 CMA Awards, Girl Crush won both Song of the Year and Single of the Year, becoming an enormous smash. Topped the Hot Country Songs list on Billboard. The song won Best Country Duo/Group Performance at the Grammy Awards. Acclaimed for its emotional impact and vocal delivery, it became one of Little Big Town's trademark songs. The popularity of Girl Crush forced the nation's censors to reevaluate what constitutes safe music and opened up opportunities for more outspoken gay artists like Brandi Carlile, Orville Peck, and TJ Osborne. Number 13, Accidental Racist, Brad Paisley and LOL Cool J. The purpose of Accidental Racist was to promote racial harmony. The black hip-hop icon LL Cool J and the white Southern country music sensation Brad Paisley linked together to start a conversation about racial stereotypes and misunderstandings. According to Paisley, wearing a Confederate flag t-shirt is a sign of pride in his Southern background, rather than hatred. In light of inherited cultural baggage, he begs for pardon and understanding. Despite its noble intentions, the song received harsh criticism for being tone-deaf from all quarters, particularly for comparing fashion choices, such as sagging jeans or do-rags, with white supremacist symbols, such as the Confederate flag. The song was seen as the reduction of centuries of systematic racism to individual miscommunications. Uncertain and clumsy lyrics that attempt to resolve complex problems with cliched concessions. The performers were aware, but they didn't fully understand the historical significance of the issues they were addressing. The song quickly became the subject of public and media controversy. Not knowing how listeners would respond, or purposefully avoiding criticism, several country and pop radio stations declined to play it. It was heavily ridiculed online, even appearing in late-night comedy routines and memes. Critics referred to it as well-intentioned, yet seriously misguided. Some gave Paisley and LL Cool J credit for initiating the discussion, despite their flaws. Others believed it demonstrated how ignorant the general populace might be regarding race. Despite not being a successful song, Accidental Racist was successful in drawing attention to issues of racism and representation in country music. These days, the song is frequently utilized in academic and cultural studies courses as a case study on failed allyship in the media, racial healing through popular culture, and the boundaries of musical genre crossover in tackling important social concerns. Indeed, Accidental Racist has been referenced in articles about racial representation in country music, podcasts, and books about popular music. Number 14, Long Time Gone, The Chicks. In the country song Long Time Gone, a young person leaves home to pursue their ambitions, only to be disappointed by what they discover. But in addition to being intimate, the song boldly asserts the evolution of country music. The Chicks critique contemporary country music in the chorus, stating, "They sound tired, but they don't sound haggard. They got money, but they don't have cash." That statement implies that today's country artists sound artificial or uninteresting. Korio. Tired. They have money and fame, but they lack the grit and spirit of legendary performers like Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard. This means that modern country music doesn't sound like real country anymore, as the song puts it. This song made country radio uneasy, since it was a direct criticism of them, claiming that they broadcast safe, uninteresting music rather than authentic, heartfelt country. The Nashville music industry, which is the center of most country radio, was condemned. Some stations were apprehensive since the Chicks were already renowned for being independent and outspoken. The song's musical elements, banjo and bluegrass, did not fit the pop country sound that was popular on the radio at the time. Some stations didn't want to promote a song that criticized the very system they were a part of, even if it wasn't illegal. On the Billboard Country chart, the song did reach number 2. It took home a Grammy. Fans adored its rootsy sound and honest message. However, it was a landmark regardless of its success. Country radio stations fully turned against the Chicks after they made political remarks against President George W. Bush a year later. In retrospect, "Long Time Gone" was the first indication that the Chicks were prepared to voice their opinions, even though country radio wasn't necessarily prepared to hear them. "Long Time Gone" is frequently cited as an uncommon instance in which a country music artist publicly criticized the industry while still dominating the charts. Additionally, it foresaw the emergence of younger, more independent country music artists like Tyler Childers, Casey Musgraves, and Sturgill Simpson. Like the Chicks in 2002, they have all questioned the direction of mainstream country music. Number 15, "We Shall Be Free," Garth Brooks. During the height of Brooks's fame, in late 1992, the single "We Shall Be Free" was released. The song "We Shall Be Free" struck out for its socially conscious message during a period when conventional themes of love, heartache, and rural life dominated country music. The song addresses many different concerns and is a cry for social justice and equality. Homelessness and poverty, racism, homophobia, war and brutality, and general prejudice and discrimination. Regardless of ethnicity or way of life, the song conveys a positive image of an America where everyone is embraced. To bring listeners together around the universal ideals of freedom and tolerance, Brooks used inclusive language and upbeat images. Songs about love, patriotism, rural life, and personal experiences were more popular at the period on country radio and among listeners than songs that tackled difficult social and political subjects. Although they were still mostly forbidden in mainstream country music, the song made explicit references to ethnicity and sexual orientation. Some radio stations and listeners thought the song was too preachy or political, and they were afraid it would turn off their conservative listeners. Many country radio hosts were hesitant to include "We Shall Be Free" on their playlists, even though Brooks was a celebrity. Compared to Brooks' more conventional songs, this hesitancy hindered the song's airplay and chart performance. According to Garth Brooks, even if it meant some radio pushback, he felt strongly about utilizing his platform to advance understanding and unity. He has acknowledged that the song helped spark significant discussions about acceptance and tolerance among country music listeners. In comparison to many of Brooks' singles, it reached number 12 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs list, which is noteworthy considering its message. To uncover more intriguing stories among Hollywood celebrities, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Catch you in the next one. Catch you in the next one. Catch you in the